everyone, and welcome back to Checkpoint Chat. It's been a long time. We checked, it's been like a month since our last episode. I'm one of your hosts, Alessandro Barbosa, and I'm joined by, I can't remember your name, it's been so long.
Who are you and why am I in your house? Hi, I'm Matty.
Oh, hey Matty. How you doing?
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been ages.
This is the teenage episode in every sense of the word. Before episode we could get 13. You, the podcast ran away.
Yeah.
To San Francisco.
Yeah, it had an adolescent phase and experimented with drugs.
Yeah, now it's come back.
It's come back home, very poor.
Very poor.
Needing food.
Although the cupboard is filled with lots of loot from San Francisco.
I mean, that's the drug nowadays. Drugs aren't like shooting heroin. It's buying figurines.
Plushies and stuff.
Yeah, that's essentially my drug at the moment.
And speaking of which, we took you had an idea for an awesome photo. So just a quick story. Alessandro bought me a giant Ori and the Blind Forest plushie, and I'm so grateful, but I had no idea it was literally the size of a house. So he had a really cool idea to put it in the chair and take a photo, and I'm putting a tweet out right now
it's a really fucking good plushie.
I'm gonna tag the studio that made Ori. What are they called? Moon Studios? No, Moon. I'll figure it out.
I think it's Moon. Isn't it Moonlight?
Moonlight Studios.
Or High Moon?
It's something. No, it's High Moon.
It's High Moon. That is a studio though. That's an Activision studio.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
Jeez, like it's been so long. There's just too much to talk about, so I don't even know where.
Yeah. Firstly, just an apology for the big absence. I guess it was kind of like a plethora of errors on our part. So just before I left for E3, I had a lot of university stuff to get to.
Exams.
Exams were killing me, and assignments were killing me. So my weekends were pretty much spent, 8 to 8 in the books. So we had to call off a few episodes, and then I left for E3, and I had really unfortunate flights because I left the Friday before we were meant to record, and we had all these great ambitions to record while I was there. I even took a mic, and Matty had a mic at his place, but the time zone differences and with me being super busy that side, it just didn't happen. So yeah, it's been a month since our last episode, but I don't think we'll do that again.
No, I think
unless we go away again, or at least next time we'll have better forewarning for that.
Yeah, it was just, I think the fact that it was just a calamity of, is that even the right word? It was just an amalgamation.
Calamity Ganon of errors.
A calamity of amalgamation of bad
menagerie
planning.
Of errors.
Menagerie.
Yeah,
menagerie. So fancy. A menagerie of errors, and we just missed the boat.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
But I mean, we're doing our best here. Yeah. So sorry if you missed us.
I can't think of a more fitting way to record episode 13 though, with coming back after a month when we've always joked about the teenage episode, and yeah, we are. Made it to episode 13.
And there's a lot to talk about. I mean, we haven't really given our thoughts on E3 and stuff like that. Even though it's been 2 weeks ago, we'll reminisce about E3 a little bit.
Yeah, why not? Just touch on it quickly.
Okay, so let's get into it. What did you watch at E3? Did you watch all of the conferences?
I missed. The only one I really missed were obviously the early morning ones. I wasn't going to get up for Sony and Bethesda.
Thank God you didn't. It was bad.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Sony were very forthcoming, saying we're only talking about these 4 games, and they really did just talk about these 4 games. Wasn't anything surprising from them. Oh shit! I just realized I didn't start a stopwatch.
Oh, good. Well, we're on 4 minutes. It's been
one of those
16.
days. Okay, hang on. Let me. You guys can hear the beep here.
4:20.
4:20. I'm just have
nice.
to 4:20 blaze it up. Nice. We got that. I watched all of them except the early morning ones, and yeah, there's some cool stuff happening. Maybe 1 or 2 things I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really wasn't an amazing E3. I don't think. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are.
I think it started off on a good foot. The first conference we went to was Microsoft, because we landed on the day of EA. So as I landed, I was on Twitter in the airport just kind of catching up on EA, and it didn't seem like anything great.
That EA conference.
Yeah, apparently it was pretty bad.
Yeah, not
I saw the Anthem footage that looked fine.
But even
we never got to play Anthem. A lot of people who did play it seemed very convinced by it. So. I'm not going to say it looks bad, because most people that I trust seem to be very hot on it based on actually playing it rather than the trailers. So
Iron Man Simulator does look
apparently
fun,
feels really good. The whole flying thing feels really fun. So, but yeah, EA's was kind of like throwaway.
Yeah, and that Anthem showing was just, it felt weird. It wasn't really, I don't know, it was like nothing to get excited about. It's like, okay, they're flying, they're going to an objective, cool, they're shooting.
Like,
it wasn't, it didn't flow nice, and there was nothing about it for me anyway that made me go like, holy shit, this is the game we've been waiting for. You know, when they unveiled Anthem, was it last year or the year before?
I think it was last year, yeah.
I mean, it was exciting. Like, whoa, look at this brand new game. Literally, Iron Man Simulator looks really cool. And then they showed the gameplay. It's like, it looks like what can I compare it to? Like Destiny, but you can fly a mech suit around, or The Division, you know, like that sort of, like, not that there's anything wrong with those games. It wasn't, I don't know, it just wasn't mind-blowing.
It wasn't new and exciting.
Yeah, it wasn't fresh or...
I mean, the only thing that kind of fascinates me right now is the whole movement, because it seems really fun.
That's only the only part of the game I'm like, well, that it does seem really fun to just pilot a mech around. And again, I'm going to say it like Iron Man, and who doesn't want to be like that, you know? So yeah, I mean, that's all that really stood out at EA.
I think the other thing that grabbed me at EA was Unravel 2.
Cool. Actually, that was really cool.
And it's co-op as well now, so that's neat. I still need to get to it.
And it was released on the day, which I think is really, cool. Really cool. It's not like, hey, here's this game. It's like, well, this game's and you can get it right now.
Yeah, that's
I kind of wish more people would do that, you know.
I think it happened twice this year. There was Unravel and something Bethesda did, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm mixing years. But yeah, EA was... Yeah. Microsoft, I thought, was probably the strongest.
I think that the only criticism I had, and we should actually go back and listen to our prediction episode, whatever you want to call it.
We're way off.
We're way off. But I think we both agree that Microsoft are going to they're going to have their staple lineup, and I didn't expect it to be literally there's a new Halo, there's a new
I was kind of shocked by Halo opening up the show and then it being like almost nothing, just like, hey, we're making it,
and I'm like, that's fine. But I think we both said Microsoft really needs something different. But that being said, they did spend some time on the show talking about studios that acquired, and that's what you've made a point of saying several times, is like, well, they're laying the groundwork. You're not going to see anything now, maybe not even next year, but after that, I mean, they're going to have hopefully a strong lineup of
to me it was super like surprising to see that, and it was kind of weird in the show to just see them like rattling off on, hey, we bought this person, we bought that. I mean, two of them were pretty much expected. Like Playground Games has only made games for Microsoft so far, so them buying them, fine.
It's like
and it's, to me, it's good because now Playground Games has more financial backing from Microsoft, whatever. Compulsion Games was kind of weird for me because they've only really done We Happy Few and what is that other game they did?
We Happy Few's not even out yet.
It's not out yet, no. And it's being published by Gearbox, which it makes it a very strange like situation. So I guess We Happy Few will be the last game, which will be like multi-platform, and then Microsoft will take over.
Just on that game, is no one worried about that game? Because it does seem like it's been around for a long time, and I mean,
from what I know, they've made some massive changes from when it first went into early access on Xbox and whatever. There was a lot of feedback, and they kind of went back to the drawing board with a lot of that stuff. So I'm keen to see how it's shaped out, because I still think the aesthetic is really interesting. The whole like, you have to be happy and you have to take drugs and to be happy and disguise yourself, and it's pretty interesting. It's got a whole Bioshock feel.
Don't get me wrong, I'm keen for the game. It's like, they teased it. I mean, they showed part of it last year and like the year before, and I feel like the year before. It's almost like it's just dragging on now.
I think it's coming out in August, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, does it actually have a release date? Okay, I missed that then.
Then it was, first Microsoft said they're opening up a new studio in Santa Monica, which is always good, because right now the only studios that are like opened and run by Microsoft are 343 Industries, which do Halo, and the Coalition, who do Gears of War. Because Lionhead is gone and stuff like that. So that's cool. Undead Labs is weird. State of Decay people.
But I mean, it's almost like, it's almost expected as well.
Yeah, because they were making State of Decay.
State of Decay 2 just came out like a month or two before E3.
And even though I didn't like it, it's selling very well.
Yeah.
It had 3 million players the other day. They reached that milestone, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they say 3 million players. They don't discern, which is sales and which is Game Pass. But at the end of the day, if people are paying Game Pass, the money's still going to Microsoft. So The big one was Ninja Theory.
Oh,
Holy
yeah,
fucking
that's a big one.
shit.
Yeah, I think no one expected. Well, I mean, I don't know.
I
don't know if
not
there were any
expect
rumors
that at all. No, I mean, they did Hellblade last year, which was great.
I still need to play that.
They did DMC, the Devil May Cry that people really didn't like. I thought it was great.
Everyone hates them.
But like, that's a big studio for Microsoft to acquire. And Ninja Theory is also pretty cool. You know, now financially they're a bit more stable. And they've proven that they can do great things with a small budget. So, you know, what happens if they carry on doing that? I don't think the solution is to just give them a ton of money and see what happens.
No.
It's like, let them carry on making things like Hellblade, just, you know, without them having to worry, like, if this game fails, we're going to have to close the studio. Yeah.
Although that game didn't fail.
No.
Seems to be
Furthest thing
very,
from failing,
very well, yeah.
So that, I don't know. It was weird. But at the same time, like you said, it's Microsoft paving the way for what's to come. Like, you won't, I highly doubt next year you're going to see a new game from each of these studios. This is like 2-3 years down the line. Yeah.
Nothing like...
This is them thinking about the next gen, which Phil Spencer spoke about. He's like, hey, we're busy R&Ding new consoles. And I still firmly believe we're going to hear about them next year and they'll come out in 2020.
Yeah.
So that gives, 5 studios a decent time to work on something that could launch with the new console or, be something that can be shown for the new console. That's when Microsoft is going to be big again. But even then, they had a great conference because they just had all this third-party support. Much.
One of my highlights, which is something I completely didn't expect, is Dying Light 2, which sounds silly because, I mean, the first game did really well, and it's something I really enjoyed, and it just never crossed my mind that I'd want a sequel. And then they announced it, I was like, holy shit, I could really go for a sequel for Dying Light. And... I mean, it looks great. I don't think they've shown any of the Night stuff.
No, they teased it.
But just the fact that they saying your decisions are more of an impact, and if you do this, this will happen. If you do that, that will happen, and it seems cool. So
they're doubling down on that whole human stuff, though.
Yeah,
like your decisions
really have an impact.
Have an impact on the world and stuff. And apparently they've improved a lot of the parkour. Really well. So I never got to see the game, but Jeff and Darren did, and they say the demo they were shown was a bit boring, like the way it was paced, but the improvements were there and stood out. So I'm excited for Dying Light 2. I love the first one.
And then obviously there's Ori, which we
Ori
finally got.
Fucking phenomenal.
I'm sad that we didn't get a release date, but
I just said 2019. I think.
But if it's anything like the first Ori, I know they showed it at an E3, then at Gamescom, again, they showed something. And if I'm not mistaken, at Gamescom, I got a release date for March the following year.
Okay.
But I don't care. They can take their time with that game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that game will come out before next E3 for sure. Yeah. Like, I don't think... I got to play a level.
I'm so jealous.
And... that game just feels really good. Man. I think the level, like the area I was in, had a gimmick where I got a power where I could drill through sand. And when you're drilling through sand, there are enemies digging through the sand, and you can press dash to kind of like attack them. But then the big thing is that as you exit the sand, if you dash, you get like a boost in speed. So they add on a lot of cool like platforming puzzles with this you'll boost out of the sand, then do your double jump, and then grab onto a wall and like. It just felt really good.
It's time for you to finish the first game.
Yeah, I need to finish the first game. I spoke to one of the devs there. They apparently don't have like a single studio. They all work remotely, which I thought was fucking crazy.
That's something I've always known about the game. I mean, as someone who really loves the game, I've gone and read up on the studio and a bit about the development process. And the fact that the studio is literally like, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think they have an office where
they don't.
It's that whole game has been created remotely by different people around the world. And when you look at the game, you're like, how do
they keep that quality?
Yeah, no, how do you first of all, how do you coordinate all those assets like the music and the gameplay and the platforming and the visuals, all of which are just like top notch. And then again, like how do you guarantee that quality? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean when I chatted to him and I was like, oh, where's your studio? And he's like, oh, we don't have one. We just work. I was
like,
cool. How the fuck are you doing this? But cool. Yeah, that was one of my highlights of E3 in total. Just playing, I think it was like half an hour I played of Ori. It was really fun.
So keen.
I got to play some Forza Horizon, which was really good. Like, I think
looks good.
Forza Horizon's my favorite racing franchise out there, and it's just good.
It's in
It's in Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the United Kingdom. And their big thing this year is the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Which actually make a big
really
difference.
Cool,
yeah. They, like, shifting from summer to winter, like, suddenly, like, lakes freeze over. So you've got areas of the map where you can drive on where you previously couldn't. And just, like, everything about the races changed. Like, your traction changes, the way cars move changes. So it's very tangible.
And the visuals as well.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Gorgeous.
Oh my God. At Xbox, I also got to play Tunic, that little like Fox Zelda-ish game.
The Fox Zelda game. Oh my gosh. I saw that trailer. I was like, this is literally Zelda, but I don't care. It looks awesome.
It's literally Zelda. It's super, super cute. He's got like a fringe, like a bang, and they've animated that with physics. So every time you move, it bobs up and down, and it is the cutest thing in the world. I just sat there like running around an area watching his little hair like bob up and down. It was so good.
Is that an Xbox exclusive? Xbox PC exclusive?
I can't remember.
I also can't remember.
I can't remember if they announced it as an exclusive. I don't think so. Because I swear I've heard of that game before. But yeah, you see, like Microsoft had a lot of third-party stuff. We had the Devil May Cry reveal there, which I thought 100% would happen at Sony. We had good looks at Fallout and Cyberpunk 2077 as well. And I think that's mainly because Sony had a weird conference. Like, I'm sure third-party developers contacted them and they were like, hey, we're doing this thing. And they were like, cool, we'll just take our stuff to Microsoft.
Well, we're focusing on our primary force, sorry. Well, I'm speaking about PlayStation. They're like, yeah. But speaking of Cyberpunk, I mean, I think we all kind of expected it to be at Xbox.
I thought it'd be there.
I'm glad. Sorry, I have to tell this. One of L's dogs was just like scratching at the door, like, please let me out. It's like, come on, I'm stranded in here. And I just got up and opened the door. Is it a boy or girl?
No, it's a boy. Ziggy, yeah.
Walked out.
Like, not even 5 seconds.
Not even 5 seconds later, marches back through the door like, nah, I don't want to go out there.
Dogs, dude.
So Cyberpunk, you were one of the lucky few got behind closed doors.
Yeah, so the only trailer they showed it, was Microsoft's one, and it was really just like a tone piece more than anything. But yeah, we got to see an hour of the game in action, which is, man, I swear there could be a whole podcast on just what I saw there. It's a lot. They showed a lot.
Oh, we could save that. Just give us a snippet.
Yeah, I'll give an overview. Basically, so if you don't know, it's first person. It's not third person like The Witcher. And the closest comparison I can give it is like Deus Ex. It feels very Deus Ex-y in the way that you are taking cover, you are shooting. It's more action-packed than Deus Ex. Like, it feels like a first-person shooter at times, but when you're shooting enemies, like, you see numbers popping off of them because this is an RPG. So, like, your guns and your equipment are doing certain types of damage, and enemies are, immune or susceptible to certain types of damage. But it's all integrated very nicely. Like, after the first initial fight, we got to see your protagonist is called V, whether she is female, male, and you get to use like augments that allow you to slow down time or use interesting mech abilities, like the spider arms that you saw in that very first trailer. Like, that's an ability you can get, and you can use that to like traverse the world on the walls and cool. stealthily get around. But then also just character customization. Like, when we were in V's apartment, you got to see her gun, which, because it's her gun, does 100% of the damage. And she could install a mod into herself that reduced the damage penalty on guns she picked up on the field because they've got like ID scanners. It's all this futuristic stuff. Like, so there's always like something to think about. There's always a penalty like, oh, there's a gun on the floor. I could pick that up, but I'm doing 50% less damage. Something like that. Based on what you give her to equip like a coat or a hat or whatever, those translate into like your armor stats and your physical attributes and stuff. So it's very RPG heavy in that sense. But the thing that got me was just like the world was you go straight out of her apartment and it looks like one of those mega blocks in that new Judge Dredd movie. It's just like everyone's living on top of one another. It's very dense, but there's so much life. There's so many people running around, so many simulations running. Like, if you think GTA is dense and has a lot going on, like Cyberpunk is a whole other level. They went onto the main street and it was just people, loads and loads of people. Like, it looked like a living world, just like this really insanely detailed simulated world. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but not like I didn't sit there looking at it and going, there's no fucking way this is working on our consoles. Like I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that could work. Yeah, 100% that could work. And then they ran us through like a short little quest, and CD Projekt Red is really good at subverting kind of your expectations with quests. So they showed us a run through where they took like a violent approach where we needed to get an item, so they found like an optional character, and it opened up a whole new segment of ways to tackle this entire quest. And they said you could do it so that you can just dialogue your way out of things. You don't have to get violent. You could make certain alliances with certain characters, and that will, bleed into things down the line.
Jeez,
like they've expanded on their quest system so drastically that it's hard to explain without seeing it in motion. And they didn't do the whole thing with like, oh, here's what happens if we do this decision. They're like, this seems all natural. Like the route they took seemed natural, and one small decision at the beginning could take it on an entirely different route. So yeah, it was just really, really good. Sure. I'd want to see more of that.
I wonder when they're going to, because generally at E3 that behind closed door stuff gets released to the public eventually, but I don't know with
CD Projekt
this game.
said they were worried about releasing it because a lot of it's still early stuff. So we did see like one or two visual hiccups, which is normal for those sorts of things. But I think they're not completely locked down on some features, and they don't want to release the footage, and then people, a lot of people understand how games are made, but a lot of players, they see a trailer and they expect that to be the final product. So if there's a feature in now and the game only comes out in 2 years and that's stripped away, then they say, oh, it's a downgrade. It's like, oh, that's just the nature of development.
On that note, so I finished God of War, but we're not going to dive into that now. But I finished that game and I went back just to watch the first gameplay trailer that they showed, just to see, like, because games change, like it happens. They can either be very similar or there's things that change. And one thing I noticed in that trailer is that, so if you remember, it's literally at the beginning, Kratos and Atreus walking to somewhere. Yeah. And then they're hunting that animal actually. And then there's a thing that pops up that says like tracking, like it's like a stat that Atreus has.
Oh, tracking like the deers.
Yeah, like so there was clearly some idea to have that as a mechanic in the game, but that's not in the. I also didn't know. I went back and I watched, and I was like, oh, like it popped up as like tracking plus.
So there might have been like a hunting segment that they eventually thought wasn't
they stripped away. Which, if I think about it, I'm like, I don't know how you would have incorporated that into the game.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's just an example. So I completely understand why they.
I know. Looking back at that demo, they changed the lighting a lot.
Yeah.
Like the way the colors look in the final game as opposed to the more muted colors in the first trailer, it's like completely different. And people say, oh, they downgraded it. It's like not really. They just changed the hue, the color palette they were going for.
Yeah.
Like, and that happens. So I know CD Projekt. So at E3 after the demo, I was like, that game looks far more long than I ever thought. Like I could see this coming out end of 2019. And a lot of people that I spoke to, they seem to share that opinion. They're like, that was a big slice of gameplay that they showed us. They showed us a big part of the world, like, because it's an open world, you get around in that car, like it's just dense. But then CD Projekt Red came out afterwards saying that was the most polished slice of the game they have.
Yeah.
The game is still pre-alpha, which I hate when studios say that shit, because what is alpha for them and alpha for someone else is completely different, and people don't, like, consumers don't understand what that means, internal jargon. Like, what does alpha mean to that studio?
You slap a pre in front of it.
Yeah, it confuses people and it leads people to make all sorts of assumptions. It's a dumb thing to say. But basically they said that, the game's still a while away. And again, what does that mean? Does that mean 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? I don't know. But that they weren't going to release that footage.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, because there's features in that demo. And they learned their lesson with The Witcher 3. They showed The Witcher 3 off a lot before it launched. And, there were certain things in the trailers that never made it to the end game. Visually, the first time they showed off The Witcher 3 gameplay, it looked better than what it did when it launched.
Yeah.
And that's because they haven't hit their benchmark yet of what they think, okay, we are able to make it look like this consistently. So I don't think they'll release that demo.
No.
But it gave us a good sense of the game. And
that's
I'm
cool,
super excited for it. Yeah.
All right. So it'll be, if I had to pin a figure, maybe like late 2020.
Yeah, late 2020 to me would be my pessimistic view. I still think I still think in 2019 is something they'll look at.
You reckon?
But I wouldn't be surprised if it shifts to like a May of 2020,
Next year,
like when The Witcher launched, you know. And you know, who knows then what the console space will look like. Are there new consoles at that point?
Yeah, a part of me thinks that maybe, I mean, if we're about to enter like the next, well, about to, you know, meaning like the next 2 years, let's say, go to the next generation, inverted commas, of consoles, all right, they might save this for the next. I mean, it might be.
Yeah, it could be a GTA thing. Like,
it could be like
cross
cross generation, whatever.
Yeah, because there were things like visually, it looks great. Like, it's still, you know, they're still setting the benchmark for visuals in terms of, you know, games. But just looking at the simulations, like what was happening in that world, there's a lot. And the machine that we're running it on, it was a Core i7 with a GTX 1080. Like, that's your top of the range card. That's not what's in this console. The Xbox One X gets very close to that, but like the base PS4 and stuff do not get anywhere near that. So, like, if they're releasing on current gen consoles, do they pare it down? Do they reduce the amount of, you know, civilians on the streets? And what do they pare down? So, you know, I think they haven't decided yet, you know, what the single vision of this game is going to be visually, and that's why they don't want to release this demo. They don't want people going, look how dense the street is, and then the final product is like halved because, hey, these CPUs and these consoles can't deal with that. So, yeah, I don't know, but that was the best thing I saw at the show by far.
At Xbox. You mean, sorry, the whole
show
E3
in general, Cyberpunk. I mean, like you said, it was a very muted E3. It definitely felt like there's studios working on things that we will not see until the next consoles are announced, because they don't want to be showing things and then people asking questions. Because it felt empty like that. Like, all the games that were shown were known quantities. Like, there was no big surprises.
No. I mean, bar like one. I mean,
Devil May Cry and Resident Evil Remake 2 are the only surprises I can really think of.
I mean, Dying Light 2 for me was a surprise, but it's not like a grand scale, like OMG, I don't know, it's like God of War 2 level surprise sort of thing, you know? But then, so we've had Microsoft. What was after Microsoft?
Ubisoft was fun.
Their conferences, okay, like, I'm not a massive fan of Ubisoft games, but I love their conferences. They just like wild and fun.
It was so fun.
And the way they started with that marching band, I'm like, it's clearly Just Dance, and it's crazy, but it's fun. You know, like, I really enjoyed watching it. I'm like, I give two shits about Just Dance, but hey.
it was such an energetic way to start that conference. It was just really fun, and their conference again was like a known quantity thing. Like, Division 2, cool.
Yeah, we knew it was coming.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. The Skull and Bones, which is actually fucking
that
great.
Actually looks really cool.
Very good.
Because we always joke like, it's a be a ship simulator. And then they show the parts like, well, I mean, I don't know to what extent you can be off the ship, but I'm like, well, you actually get to like walk around in harbors and whatever. So
yeah, I mean, when they first announced that, it just looked like they ripped the ship part out of an Assassin's Creed.
Black Flag.
But I got to play Skull and Bones, and it feels almost like a first-person shooter, except you're a ship. Yeah, because you like use the right trigger to go like an acceleration on a car, and you're not really thinking about your sails so much, but you are very aware of like, are you sailing into the wind or outside of the wind? You get like a nautical map, which is fairly good with that. But then it's mainly about getting you into the action. Like, shooting the cannons is far more involved than Assassin's Creed ever was. And like, each ship has different attributes to it. Like, some are slower, but they'll have a special ability that when activated, they can shoot their cannons infinitely for like 10 seconds or something like that. So it just feels like if Overwatch was a ship game, that would probably be like Skull and Bones.
I bet you in your lifetime you never thought you'd hear yourself saying that.
100 boats parachute onto an island.
That'll be a mode announced after the release of the game.
I was super surprised by it. I thought it was really fun. But yeah, it's a game I'll play, but I'm not clamoring for it. You know what I mean?
I mean, and there's no Splinter Cell, sadly.
Fuck, I was so sad. I was waiting at the end of that for just the friggin'
even a splash screen
just to go
or something. I mean, in Ubisoft, every year they've done. I don't know if that it's
like a one last thing.
Yeah. It's always like, okay, actually, like here's a tease for the next game.
Yeah,
whatever.
and they didn't. I think last year was Beyond Good and Evil. They showed that off. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of that trailer. I mean, I know it's not really gameplay, whatever. That trailer they showed was really good.
Yeah,
good.
with Jade.
That's actually what I must say. That conference, their CGI stuff is like, I mean, it's always been good, but the stuff they showed is like phenomenal.
Yeah, it's super good.
That Beyond Good and Evil 2, I must go watch it again. I've only seen it once and I was like, shit, that looks really cool.
And then you saw some of the gameplay. I think that game, more than anything, is like super far away.
Yeah,
like every time we see it, it's just like ideas more than a game in itself. But it looks cool, like being able to get off your ship and having this weird, like, very colorful surface to the planet, which has like a melding of loads of cultures. It looks really fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that game's coming out anytime soon.
I mean, and what else was it?
Assassin's Creed, really good.
That actually, yeah.
Really,
that
really
also
good.
looks cool. I mean, I'm not an Assassin's Creed person. Like, I like the setting. I mean, I just think of the movie.
Setting, yeah.
I just think of the movie 300, and obviously they've played in that whole Spartan kick, and it's a move.
I mean, they even have it in the game. I think it's like a prelude.
No, the weapon. It's a Leonardus. I mean, it is. Your weapon is called the
Spear of Leonardus.
The Spear of Leonardus. Yeah.
So it happens after the battle of, I think it's Thermopylae is 300. Yeah. I got to play Assassin's Creed. It was fun. It was. Yeah. It feels a lot like Origins. It's got a lot of things from Origins that feel standard now, like the more role-playing aspects of it have been expanded on. So you have dialogue choices now. You have choices within missions that which in the past felt a bit more rigid. And the combat's still the same combat from Origins. So it feels like a good expansion on that. It looks beautiful. Like the Greek islands just look stunning. And I like the fact that you can choose between two protagonists.
Yeah,
Cassandra's awesome.
Cool. Like, I know it's funny. I think everyone loves her. Yeah. And the male protagonist, everyone's
like, protagonist seems very boring. I don't know. His voice acting seems a bit dull and whatever. And Cassandra is just fun. I played with her in the demo. I played as her rather. And yeah, she would like flirt with other soldiers. She was very like strong and outlandish at times, and she was just great. I really enjoyed it.
That's cool.
Other than that, I played a bit of Division 2. It's Division 2. It's cool. It feels cool.
That gameplay, that snippet they showed in the conference was just awkward. Yeah, I hate it when they do that scripted like. Yeah. It's like, whoa, we've got to level you up. I'm Please like, no one says that. Yeah, no one ever speaks like that in gaming ever.
Yeah. I don't understand. Every year Ubisoft does that shit, and I don't understand why they do it.
Just don't do it.
But Division 2, I mean, I haven't played the first one ever since they started updating it, but apparently it's turned into a really good game. So yeah, I'm keen to give this one a go, especially after Destiny's like not hitting the sort of itch that I want anymore. Starlink, very quickly, very cool.
Oh yeah,
very, very cool.
I really do love that Star Fox.
Oh yeah, the Star Fox reveal seems
little addition,
super...
but the fact that Ubisoft and Nintendo are continuing this collaboration relationship, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Mario Rabbids, and now this is just like a little nod to Nintendo in the game. But I think it's cool when these big companies, they don't see. I mean, they're still competitors at the end of the day, but it's like, actually, we can do really cool shit if we work together. I'm all for more of that stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool seeing Miyamoto there for the second year in a row. Like, holy crap!
It's like, whoa, these guys are BFFs now.
Yeah, him and Yves are real good friends. But Starlink is super rad. It's like a Toys to Life thing. But the ship itself is like, it's actually, firstly, it's really big. But every little part has a sort of like a electrical connection to it. So as you rip off like the wings or the weapons of each of the ships, they're ripped off in real time in your game. And then you add on different weapons, and each weapon has, a sort of element type to it, like ice or fire or electricity, or maybe it's like it shoots a black hole and attracts enemies, stuff like that. So you're encouraged to, in battles, identify what your enemies are weak to, or, what will best play in the situation you're in, and actually swap out as you're playing, rather not like you have one set and you're good to go, So I was doing that a lot, and the cool thing is that you don't have to buy the toys. You can do it in-game as well.
Cool.
Because, I was worried about that. But the game itself feels like it's like a cool mix between Destiny and No Man's Sky. Like you fly out in space, and then you can fly directly into a planet, into its orbit. And then when you're in orbit, you're still in your ship, but you're kind of hopping between quest to quest and completing these like shooting quests essentially. And because it's an RPG, in a sense, you're still like trying to see what your best damage output is, like combining weapons to see how they kind of link together. Like I had one weapon which shot a tornado almost, and I had a flamethrower on my other one. So when I shot that tornado and then shot my flamethrower, it turned into like a flaming tornado, which is kind of cool.
Is that even real?
Yeah. So stuff like that. Like it's not super, super deep, but it's way deeper than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I think it surprised a lot of people, actually.
Yeah, I had a real good time with it.
Nice.
Sony.
Sony, that...
Sony's disappointing for me. Super disappointing.
I think disappointing for me in terms of no surprises. I always think of that. I mean, I think everyone thinks of that one conference where it's like, here's The Last Guardian and Final Fantasy VII Remake. And it's like, whoa, like, oh my God, like, what can they do next? And then they just reveal like something. And it's like, whoa, okay, holy shit. So I didn't watch the conference, but I did catch up on it. And I haven't even watched the Death Stranding gameplay. But from what I heard, it's like, meh. You literally see Norman Reedus just marching around.
Like, I'm all for a game being different. Like, I didn't want to see it being just Metal Gear Solid again, but like nothing in that trailer enticed me. Nothing gave me an indication of what that game is or whatever. And now, like, people come to Kojima's defense and say, yeah, he's being vague intentionally because, you know, we're so used to this culture of having like instant gratification and whatever. And like, that's fine, but I still don't know what this game is. Like, I can't tell you whether it's going to be good or not. I can't tell you whether you should be excited because I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah. I mean, and it's dragging out now as well. It's like every year they show. Like
it's dragging out.
I mean, was it unveiled in 2015 or 2016? It was when
we were there.
Was it 2016? Okay, so they showed that. And I mean, that year is amazing because it spawned all those Norman Reedus baby memes.
Yes, it was a good year.
So like they showed that. Then they showed a couple more trailers. At that point, they didn't even have an
engine.
No.
Like, it's only been in dev for 2 years.
Yeah. Then they showed a bunch of like really interesting looking trailers. Like, whoa, this world is weird and it looks interesting, but what does the game look
like? It's like short stories.
Yeah, and then I mean, okay, so I don't have a hill to stand on. I've literally seen like 5 seconds of gameplay, and it was him walking around. But from what I've heard from everyone, it's like you still don't really know what the point of this game is. So
like, there's some sneaking. You saw at the end of the trailer, you're sneaking, you're trying to avoid these phantom people with the little little fucking arm on his back. Yeah. Which that arm is now powered by babies. That's why he has a baby in a tank, because it powers that arm.
Oh my gosh. Don't know. From the mind of Kojima.
Like, vague is cool, but we've been having vague trailers for this game for 2 years now. A long time now, yeah. Like, you know, put it this way. If this was God of War, like, first trailer was this vague thing, cool, you know, it's God of War. Then for 2 years, they just kept egging out, like, these weird cinematic trailers, not really showing what the game was going to be like, but they kept saying it's going to be different.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then they show gameplay of Kratos just walking. Like, just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, is this game, like, is God of War just a walking simulator now? Who knows? I don't know. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with a walking simulator. There's great games that do just that, but... Like, is that what Death Stranding is? Yeah. Then I just want to know.
Yeah,
like, I want to know.
Tell us, Kojima, damn it, for crying out loud.
I don't know. I feel like he's burning a lot of his goodwill with this vagueness. I would have liked to know more of the game.
Hopefully at PSX or
I don't know
something.
At this point.
Who knows?
Last of Us looked really good.
That does look really great. One thing is like... shit, again, Naughty Dog, that's their cinematic work is just
unreal.
Yes, the
kiss,
and just the facial expressions and everything, like the little nuances. You're like, holy shit!
Did you see some of the behind the scenes stuff on motion capture? They released a lot of like details on how they did the motion capture for all that, and it's mind blowing. It's so.
And then I mean the gameplay looks great, but not skeptical. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't get drawn in by those sort of gameplay demonstrations, because it's still like very scripted, like you run there and the camera pans that way, and it's like, well, when you play don't get me wrong, it looks great, but when you play the main game, it might not look like that.
I totally understand.
I mean, like when Ellie's running around in the stall, there's a guy whacking everything, and then someone shoots an arrow at her and it just misses her, and she squeezes between the shelf, and then she goes to... And like, even that, the person... I'm like, if you're that person with the bow and arrow, you know that she ran behind that shelf and that there's a chance she's going to flank you. But the person with the bow and arrow is like very linear,
just
like
forward, yeah.
OMG, where did she come from? So I'm like, that sort of stuff doesn't appeal to me. But I mean, that's just really nitpicking. The gameplay looks great.
No, I totally get what you mean, and Naughty Dog does this a lot. Like, I distinctly remember the first time they showed off the first Last of Us. It was very scripted like this. Like the fights didn't seem like someone was playing. It seemed like it was.
You're watching a cinematic.
Yeah, and like there was even a portion in that trailer where Joel ran out of ammo. And his gun like clicked, and then the enemies are like, "Oh, he's out of ammo."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And it does happen in the game, but it's very infrequent. You know what I mean? So they use these demos to show off a lot of small things, which strung together will probably never look as good as what they present. I
mean, it's again, that's just me nitpicking, but it's the sort of thing I'm like, I don't really get sold on that. But I mean, I'm still excited for the game.
Yeah, I'm keen for the game. It was super violent.
Yes.
There's a way more violent than I thought
visual.
It would be.
I mean, you kind of expected that after that first. Was it the second trailer where?
Oh yeah, it was like torture porn almost.
Jeez, like that was a hectic trailer. I'd never show that to anyone. I'm like, no, don't watch it. You'll feel trailer, like uncomfortable and but again, in this gameplay, it's hectic.
I think the coolest part of the demo was when she was running away after she had shot the woman from underneath the car,
truck,
and then she was running, and as she was running, she picked up a glass bottle and just threw it.
And
I was like, "Fuck, that's
cool." Yeah.
But yeah, I'm totally with you. Like for me, I'm just very interested in getting to play as Ellie again because I think she's really cool. And when you got to play as her in Winter in the first game, it felt like a good change up.
Yeah.
So I think playing as her is going to feel very different to Joel. Joel could get in a fist fight with these guys. Ellie is much smaller.
Yeah.
You could see she was struggling, direct combat. So I'm interested to see how this changes the way The Last of Us plays. And it's interesting that we've only seen human combat.
Yeah, nothing of
clickers, haven't seen anything like that.
They're saving that.
I'm also curious to see when that comes out. That was the thing with Sony as well. Like they had these 4 games. Not one of them got a release date. Well, except for Spider-Man, which has a release date already.
Had a release date, yeah.
But Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Last of Us, not even years attached to them.
Sure. Hectic.
Ghost of Tsushima looks really good.
It does look great, but then they also at this conference showed I'm gone blank now. The people who did Dark Souls, not Software.
From Software.
I mean, From Software, not Software.
The Sekiro.
To me, that seems like, I know they're not. They're not identical games, but they look like similar settings and that.
It's really interesting how things happen like that. Eh?
I mean, I do wonder though. Ghost of Tsushima, the developers, if they saw that game, they'd like, oh shit, like that looks very much like our setting. And
I'd love to know one day how this happens, because it happens so frequently. Like there's a pocket of games that come out and they all share a setting. It's like these studios don't talk to each other that much, or do they? Like
I don't know.
Like how does this happen?
But yeah, the point is that what is that game called? I know it's Shadows.
Sekiro.
I mean, that looks really cool as well.
Great, yeah. Darren got to play it. He said it felt like a ninja Batman game. So it's not it's not a Dark Souls game in that sense. It's more active and
there's a grappling hook. I'm like, that's
he says
cool.
it felt like an Arkham game, and I was like, fuck yes.
So
I'm down.
There's that, and then I saw that, and I saw the Ghosts trailer, and I'm like, yeah, it looks fun, but I'm like, if I had to choose between the two, like I'm leaning more to
From Software's one.
From Software's one.
Interesting.
But I mean, that's just, I don't know, like whatever you want to call it, locker room talk, something where I'd probably play both.
Yeah, for me, like Ghost of Tsushima looks great. I mean, Sony's really good at their gameplay demos, like not actually showing what the gameplay is. Like they're like, this is gameplay. Like I know it's gameplay. I can see it's gameplay, but I don't actually know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? What am I enacting? What buttons am I pressing?
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier about the God of War demo, they did the same for that.
Yeah.
And the combat ended up being identical to what they showed in that trailer. So it was gameplay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I don't think Ghost of Tsushima is trying to hide anything.
No.
But it looks beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
That fight at the end reminded me a lot of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah.
Like Snake and boss fighting in the leads and stuff. Yeah. So
don't get me wrong, it looks really great. But I just thought, I'm like, it's so weird having these two games in the same year.
No, I get you.
It's just,
No, I'm keen for that. Spider-Man as well just looks great. Again, I got to play it.
Oh, yeah? Enjoy it?
Fucking awesome. Yeah. Like... Jeff said something like he came away from that, he played it, and he wasn't super like he enjoyed it, but he was not like, ooh, completely blown away. And he was like, this is going to be a good game, not a great game. And I kind of
also
think I agree with him. Like, I think Spider-Man will be a solid 8 out of 10. And that's great. Because there's nothing it's doing that feels unique, but it just feels like a fucking great
a really
Spider-Man.
good Spider-Man game.
Yeah, like the swinging feels so good, and like getting around feels so good. But when you get into the combat's different enough from like the Batman games. It feels more involved, but it's like, I've seen this before. Yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's super, super slick. It looks stunning, and just the act of getting from point A to point B when you swing just feels so like. You can swing, and then if you get close to a building, he starts running on the building, and then you press another button to like web zip somewhere, and you can chain that together. It just feels so good.
These are the same people who did
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, so I was just going to say the fact that, I mean, that game's quite well known for its movement set. Yeah. So, apply that to Spider-Man. I can see that the movement.
Yeah, they good. Just masters of that stuff at this point. Also got to play Days Gone.
Oh yeah,
not good.
Oh my gosh, that game! That game's got a release date.
It's February 22nd. Which also so February 22nd is a hot date. It's Metro Exodus, Crackdown 3, Days Gone, and I always forget.
There's a bunch of them.
I always forget the fourth one.
Hello.
I don't know, something else. It's gonna come to me just now. But Days Gone. When I was playing it, I was just like, this just feels like a better looking State of Decay. Yeah. And like, State of Decay was bad. Days Gone feels like a game that would have been fine 5 years ago. Yeah. It just feels outclassed and outdated nowadays. The tech where all the freakers or zombies, whatever the fuck they're called.
Zombies. They're just called fucking zombies.
Where they all kind of like group up and stuff. That's really fun. And it looks really cool, but the actual game play where I was like running around stealthily and just picking up items and like doing stealth kills on enemies that seemed far too ridiculously dumb. Oh, yeah. It just feels old and bad. Yeah, and I'm kind of shocked. It's like, I'm kind of shocked Sony hasn't stepped in. Because it doesn't feel like a game they'd release alongside the likes of God of War, The Last of Us. Like, it just doesn't feel anywhere close to those types of games.
Yeah. That's weird though, because Sony are on such a high where you almost want them to ride it forever. Yeah. But the reality is there is going to come a time when there's a game that's just not going to meet all these ridiculous expectations now.
Yeah, so, it doesn't feel anywhere close. Oh, Anthem is 22nd of February as well.
You're right. It would come to you shortly after.
I knew. Smaller stuff with Sony that I played. Jeff got to see Dreams and he was blown away by it.
Oh yeah, that's another game that's just been like.
Man, I felt really bad for Dreams. They were like segmented to just being like the transition music for each of the big games. Like they're like, hey, this little like 30-second music thing was made in Dreams. Here's Ghost of Tsushima. It's like, fuck, dude, that's rough. Like, holy crap.
Okay, I didn't watch that conference, but I heard it was a very weird conference. Even from you.
I didn't attend this year.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, but the beginning was, I think all the journalists were in a room for The Last of Us.
Jeff was there, and they were in like a makeshift church for The Last of Us, and it turns out that Sony had built that church to look like the one in the game. Fucking cool. But then straight after the gameplay, the journalists were shuffled into another room, and while they were being shuffled, it was almost like Sony put in a pre-show in the middle of their conference. You're just breaking the mic there.
My mic just fell over. How did that even happen?
So it was super weird. Like, you've just seen this great trailer, and now there's just like this panel of people talking about the trailer you've just watched, and they're talking about it for 20 minutes. It's like what? This is weird.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
So in terms of like their show, considering the past 3 years have been so good, it just felt fucking weird.
Disjointed, yeah. What else did they show though? So you were talking about...
Yeah. So Dreams apparently looks phenomenal. I played Concrete Genie, which was great. They showed it at PSX. It's like a
I've heard of it. I just can't think of what it looks like.
Graffiti or you paint on the walls and then your creatures come to life.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
That
so
cool.
it's like all this neon paint that you can use to paint on walls, and you create these monsters called genies, and they help you solve like environmental puzzles and stuff.
That sounds awesome.
And it's like set in this dark and dreary world where you're kind of using your paint and your colors to bring life back to it. It's fucking cool.
That's cool.
Really enjoyed it. Yeah,
nice.
Really enjoyed it.
Nice.
But that's all Sony stuff.
What about Bethesda?
Real quick. weird conference, I thought, but it was fun.
There's Doom 2 though, which I was like,
yeah,
cool.
fuck, did not expect that. I didn't expect it this early. But what's it called? Doom Eternal, I think it's called.
Doom Eternal. It's not Doom 2, but it is a sequel to Doom.
Doom Eternal, something like that. Fallout 76, I'm still a bit...
That's I'm also, I mean, I'm not like a massive Fallout fan. I didn't even play Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Okay. I played Fallout 3, and I've told the story before, I think, where I played Fallout and I loved it. I was like, shit, this game is like the best thing ever.
It is.
Then I hit the level cap. I was like, I'm done. And I just stopped playing the game.
Fallout 3 is still my favorite. It's fucking
But then
awesome.
Fallout 76 is this online game, and I'm like, I don't know how that'll be.
To be fair, I was a bit more worried about it when they were talking. I think Jason Schreier from Kotaku was like, they've learnt about this game from playing games like Rust, and I was like, oh no.
You're like, no,
this is bad. And I think they've learnt the right lessons from survival games. Like every other human you meet in the world is going to be another player, but there'll be, restrictions on, this is not one big open world. You'll be connecting to servers. So you can have servers with friends or servers with random people. So you'll have some sort of control. And, at the end of the day, it's still a Fallout game. You're still going to have quests and stuff like that.
Which is cool.
You must really enjoy the crafting, because that crafting in Fallout 4 was garbage, I thought. And now it's just back here, and I'm like, okay, fine. But yeah, I mean, it's probably not the Fallout I want, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be people out there who have been looking for an online Fallout. This is probably, going to be very close for them.
I don't know.
What else did they show?
I think about the Elder Scrolls Online, and granted, Fallout 76 isn't an MMORPG, but I'm like, people who love Elder Scrolls like, how cool would it be to play this with more people? And then there's this like, MMORPG, and people are like, how cool would it be if they released a single player Elder Scrolls
well,
again?
They did tease it.
They teased it,
6, yeah. I mean, 6 in Starfield, whatever that
Starfield,
is.
I for some reason thought that the same shooter that would work on the next Elder Scrolls were working on the Star game. I had no idea it was two separate things.
Yeah, Bethesda Game Studios is large. Yeah. I mean, they're working on Fallout 76 as well. So it's... I mean, Elder Scrolls 6 is fucking years away.
That's far away. That trailer was literally like, look at this beautiful scenery. Oh, here's a logo.
That trailer was there just to get people to shut up.
Just
to
it's
get people
coming.
To stop asking. Yeah, because Todd Howard said it's not even in a playable state yet. That game is
of course it's not. It's just
away.
It's just a CGI trailer. There's nothing to play.
I'd be shocked if that. Yeah.
No, that
Starfield as well. I thought
away.
We'd see more of Starfield, because they've been talking about it for ages.
Did they just show same thing like a?
They're just like, it's a next gen IP,
happening.
like brand new IP.
It's coming. Yay.
Yeah.
There's that Elder Scrolls mobile game or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, Blades. I think it was.
I haven't seen anything on it. Is it any good? Does anyone know?
Greg played a little bit of it. He said it was pretty fun. So I didn't get to play.
Is it just Elder Scrolls on mobile?
Sort of. It reminds me a lot of. Did you ever play Infinity Blade on your phone? So Infinity Blade was like, you move from one combat encounter to the next, and you're not controlling movement. You're controlling like
just
swipes.
The actual. Okay.
Yeah. So it seemed a lot like that. I got to play. Rage 2 though. Very fun.
Oh yes. You mean Borderlands 3?
Bulletstorm?
Yes.
It's Bulletstorm.
Is it the love child of Bulletstorm and Borderlands?
Yeah, it feels a lot like that. Yeah, actually, it's got like the attitude of Borderlands, but the gameplay feels like Bulletstorm. Like, you've got these weird ass powers and stuff like that.
That's great though. I mean, I love both those games. So
I never got to see the open world. It was just a single, close corridor mission, and the shooting feels good. But like, you're incentivized to chain kills together, because then that gives
literally
you
Bulletstorm.
powers. Yeah, because that fills a meter that allows you to do this like ground pound slam or different powers based on what you kitted out with. So yeah, I got a very Bulletstormy vibe from it, but a good vibe.
But there's no dev people from Bulletstorm working on it. Is it just like a
it's id Software and Avalanche. So
that's cool though.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're getting more Wolfenstein with BJ Blazkowicz's two daughters.
Is that it's like
DLC?
Sequel? Oh, it's a DLC. Okay, because I wasn't sure.
It's like DLC, but like a standalone thing. Like the Old Blood was a standalone thing.
Because I wasn't entirely sure. The people like new Wolfenstein. I'm like, but the new Wolfenstein like just came out.
Yeah,
so
it's like a standalone expansion thing.
That makes sense.
Darren also played. He's reviewed it actually, the Prey DLC, and it's apparently very good. So Moon Crash, it's like a roguelike add-on to it. So that's
cool.
Yeah, Bethesda were fine.
Yeah, I think every year though we always like, well, they're not. What are they going to show this year? They've like burned through all this shit, and every year they're like,
every year they got something, which is it's it's surprising, honestly.
Yeah. Although this year, generally they're like, I say that, but Fallout 76 is coming out soon.
Yeah, this year. Well, Fallout 76, the Prey DLC is out. The Wolfenstein thing, I think, is coming out early next year. But beyond that, everything else is like far away.
So I'm semi-speaking nonsense here because I know Bethesda are generally quite good. Like, here's what we're releasing in the next year.
Yeah.
And they're releasing the next year. But this conference, it's, I think, one of the first ones are like, well, here's like Elder Scrolls, but... And Starfield.
It's the first time, like, Doom. They showed Doom. Like, when the hell's Doom coming out? No one knows. Well, they're going to show off Doom for the first time at QuakeCon, which is in August. So, who knows? Maybe Doom comes out before E3 next year. I don't think it will.
No, I also don't think it will. I think,
who knows?
I mean, I know Doom, the reimagined Doom is not new.
Doom came out in 2016.
Yeah, it feels like it's still a bit too soon.
Who knows?
Like,
maybe. Like, May 2019, 3-year dev cycle. They never did DLC for Doom, so I don't know. Maybe.
Cool. That's Bethesda.
Yeah, just some small things I played here and there as well that we didn't talk about. I never got to play Resident Evil Remake 2. I'm very sad about that. David got to play it. He loved it.
So good. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is probably one of my I think one of my highlights of E3 because
100%.
We knew it was coming, but it was one of those weird things of like, it's Capcom and it's a remake. What are they going to do with it?
Because they announced that they were doing a remake years ago.
Ages ago. And then just recently before E3, I don't know if it was a leak or they announced or something, whatever rumor, like it's over the shoulder. And even that was like, like, I don't know, it's not quite Resident Evil 2, but what they showed, I was like, shit. What a brilliant decision. It looks
like
great.
Resident Evil 4, except in Resident Evil 2. Yeah, I'm fucking down for that, man.
Yeah, it looks so good. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm super stoked. And it's out in January.
I know.
Like, holy shit.
Oh my gosh. Capcom are just like, praise them. They're doing, they're doing like, I don't know, the Capcom of maybe 2 years ago, whatever it was weird. Like, they released a Street Fighter and it's shit, and then it's like, Capcom are just like money grabbing sons of bitches, and now it's like,
they're doing good.
And they've turned around. It's like, well, here's that demo you've been playing. That's actually Resident Evil 7, and it's coming out in 6 months.
Yeah,
but then it is like 6 months. Okay, we don't know anything about this game. This game's going to be a flop.
Yeah,
and spoiler, it really wasn't a flop. It was like exceptional.
Especially when they're like, it's got PSVR support. I was like,
this isn't going to work. So
it was fucking great. It was so good.
Then this year they're like, hey, Resident Evil 2 remake. By the way, it's coming in 6 months as well. So again, it's funny though how now people are completely like, oh my gosh, it's so soon. Whereas with Resident Evil 7, it's like, that's too soon.
Yeah, it's too soon.
It's now broken. Like, what's wrong with it?
They're confident now. Like, Capcom's riding this wave of goodwill. Like, they've got Mega Man 11 coming out,
which also looks cool,
which is apparently really good. They're still riding high on the Monster Hunter wave. So yeah, they are doing no wrong aside from their fighting games at the moment, because Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was a fucking garbage. So,
with the best collector edition.
What else? So I never got to play Resident Evil Remake 2. Is it Resident Evil 2 Remake? I don't know.
I just know that it's going to be capital R, capital E, make.
2. But yeah, apparently that's good. I got to play a bit of Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Oh yeah?
It's fine. It's Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Well, sorry, on that, can we just like very quickly touch on the Square Enix conference, which was just like...
I never watched it. I just heard it was bad.
It was bad. It was like... So don't get me wrong, like, new Tomb Raider, cool, exciting, but it's like, here's some stealth gameplay, and like, okay, cool. Then they showed Just Cause, like, Rika can do this stuff, like, cool.
He can fly into a tornado now.
He can like summon tornadoes or something.
He can summon tornadoes.
If I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
How the fuck did I not play this game? That sounds awesome.
Like, okay, that's a bit bizarre.
Summoning tornadoes.
And then they showed they ended the conference. I mean, they showed like bits and bobs, and then they ended the conference with like the third Kingdom Hearts trailer of the show, or the second
and it was the same trailer.
And it's the exact. And here's the thing, okay, I don't mind showing. If you repeat the trailer, whatever, I'll let you get away with it. Have you watched that Kingdom Hearts trailer?
Yes, I have.
It is so bad to me. I'm not a fan. Not a great trailer, I mean, I should be a fan. I have nothing against the game, but that trailer, it's like, cool, here's gameplay, but there's no sound effects. And the voice acting,
no, that was an error on their stream.
Okay.
Yeah, that was an error on their stream. Yeah.
So
because they showed that trailer at the Microsoft conference and there was sound.
Every conference I watched it at didn't have the sound effects.
Really?
So you watch them and it's like, you see them like running.
Oh, that's weird.
But you don't hear the foot.
That's super weird.
And you just hear them like, oh man, we have to save like X person. I'm like, this is just a really bad trailer. I really thought, okay, so
no,
on your side it was
on
fun.
The Square Enix one, it was broken. Because people were tweeting about that.
And on the Xbox One, it was exactly the same thing.
I heard everything. Like, yeah.
But you were at the show,
I was
though.
at the show,
okay,
yeah.
but the stream at home, same thing. Just sound effects. You're like, why would they show this? This is like, it makes it seem like they rushed it out. Like, we don't have time to make like sound effects of them running. Just put the voice acting in.
Fuck.
So, and they showed that same trailer like
they showed
times.
it 3 times, which I thought was absurd.
And every time was that awkward, like, just remove the sound. Like, this is awkward. It's people talking and they're like panting, and it's like, it doesn't look good at all.
I don't know. Square, they showed off a new Platinum game as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, they opened with that.
Yeah,
I missed that. I'd confess I got to the stream late.
I just thought, Square Enix, everyone was going, we're going to see that Avengers game.
And the Avengers game. Yeah.
Nope, nothing of the sort.
They didn't need a conference. They really didn't.
They didn't need a conference at all. No.
It was like half an hour and it was over, and it was like, oh.
You know who else didn't need a conference? It was Nintendo. Fuck, man, that conference made me sad.
Let me timestamp this, because I imagine this is going to be...
That conference made me so sad. Like, hell yeah, I'm so keen for Smash. Like, so excited for Smash. But that was a Smash Direct.
I don't need to know every goddamn detail about that.
That wasn't a fucking E3 direct. That was a Smash Direct. That's what it was.
It was
like,
just...
Like, it was like 20 minutes of Smash.
Yeah, it really was.
So, I mean, that's fine. I'm glad that we got all these details, and I'm glad, like, every single character under the sun is there, even though Snake doesn't have his good but. I'm really sad about that.
Okay, but let's backpedal just a bit. What else did they show in the conference? They showed
Fire Emblem, which looks pretty good.
Yeah, cool.
They showed a bit more Octopath.
Oh yeah, I'm like, cool, I know that's coming.
There's a new demo out.
I haven't played it, I've got to download it, I haven't played it. They showed that.
What else?
There was no
they showed a bit more Splatoon, that DLC, which was out like a week afterwards anyway.
But like no Metroid,
no Yoshi.
No Yoshi. I think Yoshi was one a lot of people expected.
They announced Mario Party.
Oh, like, okay, cool. It's a Mario Party. Awesome. It's
a fucking board game.
But there's like no big surprises, I don't want to say. I mean, even though we've got Mario Odyssey and Zelda, you almost expect like maybe a 2D Zelda or 2D Mario, something. I don't know. It's not necessary.
Yeah,
but almost
not
expect
even a big
something
announcement,
like that.
or just like something like talk about the big announcements you've already made, like Bayonetta 3.
Yeah,
like,
that
where's
wasn't even shown.
Where's Metroid? Where's
nothing?
Star Fox. Where's
nothing?
Nothing. It's like just 20 minutes of Smash.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Then we get to Smash. I'm like, cool. Like, they're going to show Smash, or maybe like a 5-minute thing, and it's like, here's Smash.
20 minutes of Smash.
And then they're like, here's every single, like, I must say, from a marketing point of view, the little caption, tagline, everyone is here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's brilliant, because it just tells you everything you need to know. Like, everyone's here.
Yeah.
And it's like, and when they started, it was like, okay, well, here's the number of order that these people appeared in. It's like this person, and you're like, okay, that's quite cool. Whoa, okay, this is the entire roster.
Yeah, every single
And then
person.
it's like, and then there's Inkle from Splatoon, like that's cool. Like, okay, cool. They've shown
Ridley.
Yeah, oh well, they saved that right for the end. Like, we have a surprise for you. Like, here's Ridley. And,
Here's
like,
Ridley.
and then there's Waluigi like crying on the side. Like, why you not include me? But then it's like, awesome, here's this thing, here's Smash, it's looking great. And then they're like, cool, we're going to tell you every last detail about this. We've changed this on this character.
Yeah.
And this on this character. You might know that we've changed this on this character for this reason. And then like they do that for like every character. It feels like, oh, okay, you can end it now. It's okay. It's not too late to end it.
It was kind of...
And then they're like,
so weird.
Let's talk about stages. You'll notice that on this stage we've done this. And it's like, oh my gosh, like this is too much. Just stop now.
I mean, they could have announced it. They could have announced their things about the characters and stuff, and then left a lot of that other information for direct, like down the line.
I mean, I get why. So I think in the past they showed like the Smash for the Wii U and all the 3DS and Wii, and it's like, cool, here's a roster, and we're going to slowly tease new people. I get why they showed everyone, because that's just part of their like big hoorah, like here's Smash, everyone's here. Like, leave it at that.
Yeah.
Do nothing else. It's okay. Just say everyone's here. Cool. Here's Smash out in December.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah. I also thought that was weird, because like their online service launches in September, and now it launches with nothing.
Well, not me. I think everyone thought like it just makes sense.
Yeah,
you have to launch it at that.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, yeah, fuck, I'm down for Smash. Like I even played it, and when I was playing it, I'm like, yeah, this is Smash.
It's Smash.
It's
On
Smash.
the Switch.
I'm so
Cool.
stoked for Smash on Switch, and I'm glad that all these characters are in, especially all the DLC characters from the past and stuff. That's cool, but do we need like even at Nintendo this year, like last year, We went to the booths,
this, yeah?
and their stand was just like a mix of
Everything.
stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it was no theme or whatever. But like last year, we got to play like Mario Odyssey at their booth and Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Heroes.
Yeah.
The Shin whatever. And this year was just like, hey, we've got Smash and we've got the new Pokemon.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean, sorry, and the new Pokemon, cool, I'm excited for it, but they've already shown it in like a whole separate direct.
Yeah, which was like 2 weeks before E3.
And then here's Reggie like, we're going to tell you the same shit about Pokemon.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
For like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, okay.
And that Pokemon, like I played it with the Pokeball controller. That thing's pretty cool. Like it's really cool how you can put a Pokemon in there and then it like rattles and vibrates. And it's neat.
Yeah.
The game itself is very simplistic. Like you catch Pokemon as if it's Pokemon Go.
No.
Stuff like that.
Tell me that.
The cool thing is the battles are like core RPG Pokemon battles, which is nice. It's not the Pokemon Go style battles. But like the whole idea is you're running in grass and now encounters aren't random. You can see the Pokemon in the grass. So you run into them and then you have to do your whole throwing thing. And it like gets real old real quickly.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? They've said it's not a core Pokemon and
it's going to rope in a whole lot of the casual Pokemon fans. But then you're going to get the hardcore ones. I know like John Mark at my office, he's been holding out on the Switch for Pokemon. And then this was announced, he's like, finally, a reason to pick up the Switch. And then he watches the conference. Well, that was announced before. So he watches that and he watches what they show at the conference and he learns more about the game. It's like, no, like this is not the one I want. Next year. Yeah. So, yeah. I think, did we miss anyone at E3? That's Nintendo?
No, I'm trying to think of things I played that went to the conferences
so much,
that were... Yeah, there's a lot, but I think I've touched on most things.
I don't think we've met. Well, real quick, your top 3 picks from E3. Like, what is the best shit you saw or played?
Cyberpunk was the best thing I saw by a fair margin. Just after that is Ori and Will of the... Is it Wind of the Wisps?
Will of the Wisps. I'm going to have this tattooed on your arms.
Yeah, I keep getting it wrong. I keep getting it wrong. Ori was definitely second. Third that I played. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was good at E3. Nothing that blew me away.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was pretty cool, I guess. Forza Horizon was really good. And... rounding out the third slots is probably Assassin's Creed was really good. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, like all known quantities.
Yeah.
Like nothing surprising.
Like out of the blue.
I'm excited for a lot of the things that we saw and we didn't get to play, like Sekiro and Devil May Cry 5. Like holy fuck, so excited for that.
Yeah.
And like most of Sony's stuff that was not playable.
Goddamn.
But in terms of stuff I actually got to see in action and stuff, there wasn't that much. Yeah. Well, for you, what was really exciting?
I think, the easy one for me is obviously Ori. I'm just chuffed we finally got... What a fanboy, get off the podcast. I'm just glad we finally got to see gameplay. Because
they've been teasing the sequel for a while now.
Yeah, so they haven't actually. It was rumored when we went to E3. It was rumored, and we even knew the name. There was a rumor saying the new Ori is called Will of the Wisps. So I thought it was going to be shown at that E3. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be at an E3 when it's unveiled. How exciting.
And they never revealed it, yeah.
So they only unveiled it last year.
At E3?
At E3, at the Microsoft conference. Okay. How could you forget that? Gareth Coker, the composer, go up and play the piano. I was like,
oh right, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
that's right.
So that was the reveal, and then that was literally just that 2-minute trailer. And then they leave me high and dry for a year, and they finally show some gameplay,
and it's still like a year away.
And it's still not released.
2019. Fuck.
But yeah, definitely that. I've got a giant Ori plushie, so I have to. I've been bought. You've paid for this. Clearly, they sent it to you, didn't they?
No.
Sent it with you to me.
No.
What? Get out.
I am really sad I never got to see Metro.
That also did look good. Yeah,
Darren got to see it and he said it was really good.
That also
probably would have been up there for me.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's all good.
Interrupted your top 3 list.
Interrupt my Ori monologue. And then just as not a surprise, but I don't think it's a big game, but the Resident Evil 2 remake for me is like right up my alley. I have fun. It's funny, I don't have such fond memories of Resident Evil 2 specifically. I played more Resident Evil 3 over and over and over again, and I played Resident Evil 2 after the fact, but I just love that those old Resident Evil games, and like besides the fact I do still love Resident Evil 2, and I'm just excited to see it given like a new breath of life, I guess, if you want to call it that. And Capcom have been really good at the ground up remakes. It's actually surprising that people have I don't want to say surprising.
Well, remake 1 was pretty good, wasn't
remake
it?
1 was really good, but that came out years ago. I mean, it'll blow your mind because the first Resident Evil came out in like 97. The first remake came out on the GameCube, which was like not even that much later, like 6 years. I'm going to just try the number there. And it was phenomenal. Like it was still the same game you knew and you loved, but they put in enough that it felt different. And it looks like they've done exactly the same with Resident Evil 2, where you can walk in, and that I've heard some of the interviews and stuff, and they do say like, we obviously want you to feel like it's Resident Evil 2, but we're not going to give you the same game. So you walk in, it's like, everyone knows that opening lobby of the police station. You see it, you're like, holy shit, this is Resident Evil 2. And you like walk through another door, like, whoa, where does that go? Like, that wasn't from the game. Or
they've added a bunch of stuff. So it's like a remake, but also like, hey, here's some stuff
I think they're going to have a lot of
never do there.
Yeah, a lot of little touch points. So, like, one thing I think is so funny, they put bathrooms in the game. Which no one, I never noticed. Resident Evil 2 never had a single bathroom. Resident Evil 1 had. Resident Evil 3 maybe.
All those policemen in the police station, they don't need to
they just go home.
Exactly.
They're so tough that they need to go to the bathroom. But I think those are just the two that come straight to memory now. But I mean, I'm obviously excited for Sony stuff like Last of Us 2, undoubtedly. I love Naughty Dog. Uncharted, geez. Yes, they did Uncharted, but I'm not talking about that. The Last of Us 1 is one of those games I played where it's one of those few games I played where the more I played it, the less I wanted to play it, because I was like, I don't want it to finish. I really don't want to. Like, I'm dying to play more, but I know the more I play, it's just going to get to an end. So if it's more of that, like, geez, by all means. They craft really compelling games. I mean, I know there's criticism in The Last of Us with a bunch of things, but I still really enjoyed it, and I'm keen to see them now. Like what, 5-6 years later? Is it even that long?
Since the Last of Us. That was 2013.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, if it releases next year or the following, it's like 6-7 years later. I mean, we're in a whole new generation of
it's interesting because the first really, Last of Us was the last big hurrah for the PS3.
For PlayStation 3, yeah.
Last of Us 2 could do the same for PS4.
PS4, yeah. I mean, and it's just that team's grown. I mean, they've done Uncharted 4 between that. And they just do really good. I'm so
interested to see what they do after this.
I know.
I really don't know. It's not going to be an Uncharted. It can't be.
I mean, they even did the whole Lost Legacy, which is just like a cool little.
Like, here's a side story. Is the next thing going to be? Because they've gone through this generation without a new IP. So I'm sure they already
planning something. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, I try. We've got a good friend at Naughty Dog, Neelan, and he never tells us anything because he'd get fired. Oh my
gosh, but still.
But I would love to just be able to pick his brain and know what the hell's going on in that studio.
Kudos to him though. I mean, I know when every E3 we hang out with him, and he knows shit. Like, he knew about The Last of Us 2 before we did.
Oh, duh, yeah. He's working on it.
I know, but I mean, he's sitting there, we're like, yeah. We're like, imagine you guys do The Last of Us 2, for example, and you're just like, nah. Yeah. I don't know,
That'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah, cool idea. I'll think about it, sort of thing.
I'll go tell, what's his name?
Neil Druckmann.
Yeah, Neil Druckmann. I was going to say Neil Blomkamp. That's the movie director.
We're making a district.
We're making District 9, the game.
Hot damn. That's a cool idea. Neil, if you're listening, please pitch that at your...
I'm very interested to see what Naughty Dog does after this because new IP for them, very, very keen to see where they go with that. But E3 was...
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, again...
There's stuff happening behind the scenes for next gen, 100%.
I think it's very hard to top that one conference we speak about. Although last year, I think, was also a bit meh.
Last year was fine. Yeah, I preferred this year to last year. Yeah, if I have to say, just in terms of the games that interested me, there were more. But there's definitely what the fuck is Rocksteady doing?
Yeah. I mean,
where are they? What are they doing?
If any of you follow Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, he's
distraught.
He's got this theory, and I mean, I think he's read stuff on Reddit and whatever, and there's all these rumors going around Rocksteady are working on a Superman game, and it was just hilarious going up to E3, seeing seeing his activities on Twitter and this, you just seem like, are they going to announce it? Like, is this, if there's a God, like this is the
like
game
every
made
conference,
for
he
me.
was just like, are they going to announce
It's
it?
like, is it this one? I mean, he was convinced it'd be at Microsoft, and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then Sony, nothing happened. And then just nothing happened
yeah.
at all.
And what's weird is that I keep seeing them on Twitter. Like just yesterday, they tweeted out, they're like, we just reached another milestone in our project, so the team's celebrating. It's like, what the fuck are you working on? Tell us.
Tell us all the things.
Tell us all the things. Maybe don't tell us, because then we're going to wait 3 years for it.
Oh, no, yeah,
fuck,
don't
I'd
tell
love
us.
to know. I would love to know what they're working on.
I mean, they've had a huge gap as well between...
Yeah, Arkham Knight came out in 2015.
Sure, and they haven't even teased or announced.
They haven't
anything,
announced anything.
Yeah.
I'm super curious.
So there's a lot of stuff, I think, in the back. I mean, look, gaming's still in a great space. There's a lot to look forward to, but it feels like there weren't any major surprises. Like, wow, I always think of 2015 and 2016, just those conferences had like those, it was things to get like really excited for, like, holy shit, I can't believe this was announced.
But you see, most of those big surprises come from the first parties.
I know.
And the first parties are not going to bring anything out, I think, for their consoles new. They're not going to announce anything until the new consoles are announced.
No, it's true.
Because then new consoles announce, it's like, hey, remember Guerrilla? Hey, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on PS5 or whatever the fuck. And Microsoft comes out and says, hey, here's what Ninja Theory's been working on.
It feels like a lot of the shooters are playing it safe. I mean, Ubisoft for me was a shock. I really thought we'd get a Splinter Cell announcement.
Fuck, I wish.
Like, I was convinced, even if it wasn't that, they usually do something. There's always that last hurrah. I mean, the one year was steep, and granted, not for me.
Weird,
not for me, but I'm like, well, they're doing something different. They're trying, and this shit is like, and like, okay, this is the part where they're like, actually, we're not going.
Actually, we're being hacked. Oh no, Watch Dogs 3.
I mean, it's the same thing with like musicians where they're like, okay, bye, we're done with our sets, and then people are like, encore, like, oh, we came back, we heard you guys wanted an encore, like, you guys planned that.
Yves just like fucking walked away.
There was none of that. It's like, bye, and like, cool, he's gonna come back now. Whoa, he's not coming.
Whoa, they're telling us to get out of here.
So at home, like, the stream ends, I was like, what? Go back to the stage. There's some shit gonna happen now. And nothing happened.
I was so bleak, man. I really, really thought that would be the thing. You know what I mean? And especially because, like, the Walmart leak that happened in May, like, 90% of that leak was accurate. And on there was Splinter Cell.
Oh, was Splinter Cell?
Yeah, Splinter Cell was fucking on there. It was like, come on. Of all the things that weren't real there, like, it was Splinter Cell. Like,
damn
fuck.
it.
Yeah, I was sad. I was very
we did
sad.
get Fortnite from that leak, which was quite cool on Switch. Although,
Fortnite on Switch.
That bullshit of Sony where you can't crossplay.
Sony. Fix your crossplay.
I was super excited for Switch. I'm like, finally, like, it was leaked. We suspected it's coming. Okay, cool. It's out on the Switch. I'm going to play. And then it's like, your Epic account is registered. And Epic literally say, I mean, it's not word for word, but they literally say, like, there's nothing we can do about this.
They even like, say, do not contact us.
There's nothing we
can't do this. This is Sony's
And that's
fault.
just like lingo for, well, Sony told us to, like, get stuff. Well, I mean, it
is just Sony. Like, and it's with every other platform. I think this has been like the tipping point of this thing, because everyone in the past is like, oh yeah, crossplay. Sony's not going to do it because they're market leader. Now you've got the biggest game in the world.
Yeah, I think it's silly
on a new platform. Like, you're just starting a fight with the wrong people.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen the other side of the argument. So my stake in this whole argument is that I have a PC, I have a PlayStation, I have a Switch. I'm very fortunate that I have all these platforms to play Fortnite on. But the thing is, like, I've got friends on PlayStation and on PC. So I was thinking, my immediate thoughts like, I can't cross-play on PlayStation. Fine, like, I'll unlink my PlayStation account and just play on my Nintendo and my PC. I'm like, well, then I'm excluding, like, all my PlayStation friends now. But then the other side of the argument is like, well, how many people actually have multiple consoles? It's like that. It doesn't even matter. If I've got a Switch and I've got a friend on PlayStation,
we should be able to
I just want to play with them. Like, it shouldn't even be a thing. Like, why not? Everyone else can do it. It's just Sony being dicks about it.
I mean, you can play Fortnite on your PC or your Xbox against someone on a fucking smartphone.
No, exactly. And the sore point for me is like, okay, I can play on my Switch, whatever. I make a separate account. But I'm like, I've got a Battle Pass.
Exactly.
I don't want I don't want a naked account or a completely separate account.
I think that's where the sticking point is coming in. It's like, Sony don't want people to be able to purchase items on another storefront, like Nintendo or Xbox store, where they get a cut and then have those items available on PlayStation.
Yeah.
But, like, shouldn't that be Epic's problem? Like,
I know.
It shouldn't be, Sony shouldn't be able to dictate like what Epic does with their accounts.
Yeah.
Like it's so
and I just
weird.
think it's super greedy. I'm like, I think
It is greedy. It is.
Sony, it's not like Sony have this small player base. Like, shit, we need to hold on and make sure we get every last penny. I'm like, you have millions of people. You've got millions of consoles, the game's free. You have millions of people playing on PlayStation.
And they're just giving ammo to Microsoft and Nintendo. Yeah,
Exactly,
straight after E3, they had that whole Minecraft trailer where it was very clear that Xbox and Nintendo were like, hey,
like
look,
BFFs,
we can. We are bringing down the barriers on crossplay because, hey, it's 2018 and that archaic bullshit is
it's very on the nose.
outdated. Like, it was very on the nose, and it's good. The players need to put pressure on Sony to get with the times, because I don't think it's a matter of like market leader and this and that. It's like, if you really are creating an ecosystem for your players, then it doesn't matter where they play their online games. They should be playing, they should be buying your console for two reasons: your exclusives and the games look best on your console. Like, not buying your console because, hey, all my friends have that console, this is the only console I can buy.
Which is stupid.
It's just dumb.
Yeah. I mean, and well, I hope this is the tipping point, because I mean, we've had the same shit with Rocket League, for example, where it's like, well, you can't, sure, you've got your PlayStation, you can play with your PC friends, but you can't play with Xbox or Nintendo. And it's like, yeah, that sucks, but it's as great as Rocket League is, it's not like hundreds of millions
Fortnite.
of things. But now Fortnite, as you said, is the biggest game in the world, like bar none. It's just
this is just
so
bad press
many
for
players.
Sony. Like, at the end of the day, that's all it is, because it's bad press for them because they are the only ones doing it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's
not even like
fine.
It's not even like it's smoke and mirrors. Like, oh, like we don't know why. It's like blatant. It's like they just not playing nice.
Sony are fucking us. Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I don't get it. It's bad press for them, and they're burning goodwill when they don't need to. Like, they really just their whole like mantra for this generation was for the players. And when you think back to when they announced the console, they had that huge dig at Microsoft, like, hey, look, you can share games on PS4. Like, where the fuck is that Sony?
Yeah, I don't know.
That Sony that is like, hey, look, we're very consumer facing, and we're going to let people still do secondhand games, while these fuckers over at Microsoft aren't going to allow that.
Yeah.
Now Microsoft is going, hey, look, we can allow crossplay.
Yeah.
Like, we're giving you Game Pass, we're giving you the ability to play between your PC and Sony's just like, nah, fam.
Yeah.
Nah.
Not cool.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I wonder if I can loophole the system now. I've been thinking, if I unlink it on my PlayStation. Okay, so I link.
I don't think you can unlink it.
You can't.
I don't think so. I think once you've linked it once, that's it.
Is it?
Because
I was thinking, if I could unlink it on my PlayStation, link it on my Switch, I can still play on my Switch with like Nintendo and PlayStation people. But if I want to play with my PlayStation friends, I just play on my PC.
Yeah, you could.
So I don't know. Like,
I don't know if you can unlink the account.
Shit, I don't know. Like, I wonder if there is a loophole. I'd love to know, but hopefully I don't have to do that. And Sony are like, sorry, fam. Like, we've realized we're being stupid. We're opening the doors.
For me, it's just the battle pass. Like, I purchased a battle pass on PlayStation 4, and I've got all sorts of items and stuff.
Yeah.
Now they're just like, hey, because you played on PS4, you just need to restart on every other platform.
And it's not that the battle pass is expensive.
It's not. I don't annoying.
Have the time to grind on two separate accounts.
And it's annoying because it's not Epic going, hey, we want to double charge you. Epic are like, we couldn't give a shit. It's just Sony like being like, nah, you bought this on our platform, it's ours.
Yeah. Anyways, that's our Fortnite.
Do you want to dive into we're not really going to touch on news. There's not really that much news, but I know we got like 2 or 3 questions on Twitter.
Oh yeah, let me timestamp this.
I think the only thing worthwhile mentioning in news is there's a rumor going around. A bunch of sources, 5 sources spoke to Kotaku about Google getting into the gaming business, which isn't new. Google has been trying to breach into this market for ages, stuff like that, but apparently they might be developing a streaming service.
Oh wow.
Like Microsoft was talking about streaming games as the future. Ubisoft is saying that's the future. It probably is the future. So Google might be getting involved there. So who knows? Interesting times.
Yeah. Okay, well,
the Google Box One.
And I know we've played a whole bunch of stuff, but I think let's say that for next week.
I mean, this was a good roundup of E3 and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's like a recap. I finished God of War. I've been playing Mario Tennis, Aces. I've been playing a whole bunch of Fortnite Mario again.
Yeah.
I'm nearly done with Bayonetta. I just need to take the time to finish like the last 2 chapters. I'm like right at the end. I got distracted by Mario Tennis.
Yeah, I've been playing Mario Tennis, and I played a bunch of Hollow Knight. which is really good.
We'll talk about this next week.
But yeah, we'll chat about that next week.
Okay, so question number 1 comes from our good friend Craig Guild, who says, so first podcast back since E3, you're going to give us some thoughts on what you saw there? I think we just have in great
I don't know
detail.
if we've answered that question yet.
I don't know. Should we talk about it again?
Yes.
We have... Is that... Oh, wait. We've got from Corey Stradom, who says, how will Matthew Figure incorporate the podcast into his wedding? Well, yeah, here's an interesting thing. I don't think I've ever made this public, but Lensk and I are having a destination wedding. So,
I thought we spoke about that before.
No, I think we might have mentioned
Maybe. I don't
alluded to, but I've never said. So I'm not even going to be in the country.
Yeah,
And
neither will I.
Funny story, neither will Alessandro. Maybe we'll do a destination podcast.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we'll do a podcast in Portugal. Instead of like a speech, we'll just podcast.
We'll just
before everyone can
podcast.
eat.
We'll podcast at the wedding. Yeah.
That sounds like a terrible
Welcome to
idea.
the super special. Yes, Lensk will not be impressed.
I would not be impressed. I'd be like, I just want to eat.
Welcome to the special edition. We're not doing speeches. We're talking about games. Quiet, everyone. So yeah, I don't know what we'll do.
That's in March.
That's March next
Yeah,
year.
that's
So
a long way away.
hopefully we'll be way more prepared by then. And I don't know, maybe
Yes.
like record ahead or something.
Yeah, like an evergreen podcast that just goes up.
Just goes up whenever.
I mean, yeah, there's lots of time to plan, but we'll
Yeah.
definitely plan better for that.
Yeah, and then from Zoe, who says she loved Florence, so mobile game, which you also played. Maybe
finally
we should
played
touch
it,
on that.
yeah.
She says, are there any other awesome mobile games you can recommend?
So I don't want
first,
to
Florence.
rehash Florence because you spoke a lot
spoke
about
about it,
Florence previous.
But I'm so
episode.
glad you played it.
Yeah, fuck, Florence is awesome.
That's really good.
Absolutely
See,
awesome.
I mean, that's a short little, not
Yeah,
even
it's
an
like
hour. It's like 45
minutes, around about there.
You get this
It's like
nice,
$30.
really great experience.
Yeah, unbelievable music.
man.
Really, really good music, and just
So
like
good.
so clever for a smartphone game. Like I remember you telling me about the dialogue
speech stuff,
system.
yeah.
Where it's like you're putting together pieces of a speech bubble, and as you know the conversation gets more comfortable, the pieces become larger.
It becomes
and there's less you
literally
have
like
to do.
one piece at one stage. Like
Yeah.
it's a clever way to show like, well, they're getting comfortable.
Yeah, it's
Without telling you they're getting comfortable.
Yeah, exactly, because
Yeah.
there's no dialogue, there's no
Yeah.
prompts.
Yeah, there's not a
when they
single
argue
word of
the-
dialogue in that game.
Like when they argue, the angles of the puzzle pieces are like sharper,
Yes.
so you can see like agitation.
it is so
It's
so
very,
clever.
very clever.
And then just
But-
the story itself is
The story's sublime. Like it's something I think most people can relate to. It's very raw and real when it comes to relationships. It was good. It was
Yeah.
really, really good. Very emotional. Very,
Yeah.
very good. Play that game.
what's nice about it is the fact that it is short.
Yeah. So I
you
was
can-
just on the plane. I was like, oh yeah, I can.
Yeah, and
you need headphones. Like
yeah,
100%.
you have to.
Headphones.
Well, you don't have to, but it is strongly suggested that you listen to that.
Can't imagine playing that game without the
properly.
sound. Yeah. Because it adds so much to it.
Yeah. Oh man,
I don't know what else on.
Yeah, when it that's
mobile
actually
games.
such a weird thing for me because I don't think I've ever had I've had an experience like Florence in the sense that like I get emotional and I cry or whatever, but I've never had it. Okay, but let me finish my sentence. I've never had it on a phone.
Oh yeah, on a phone.
The fact that I've had that on a phone is just like it's weird. Whereas like there's games like Journey and I've done not plenty, but some of those games
Journey
where
and like Ori, where they have the same
you
emotional.
have that emotional pull. I mean, recently the last Guardian, geez, I bawled my eyes out.
that.
But on a smartphone, I've never had an experience like that, and it's just cool. I hope there are more little snippets of games like that.
If you're looking for cool mobile games, they're not making them anymore. But Ubisoft, Square Enix Montreal's Go series is really good. Hitman Go, Lara Croft Go.
I've only played Lara
Deus
Croft
Ex
Go.
Go's okay, but the previous two were very good. Have you ever played Framed?
Is that I've heard of it?
Framed is really good. It's like a puzzle game where you're rearranging frames in like a comic strip.
I've heard of it.
And then
Yeah,
the story runs along how you've set up the frames, and like you got to set them up in the correct way. It's very clever.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a neat mobile game.
Also, I always think of that one you told me. Where you're a king or something? Is it Rain? Where you're just swiping like you would Tinder swiping decisions. That
well,
sounds
the
pretty
second
cool.
one is Her Majesty Reigns, and the first one was just called Rain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. It's
I
very
also need to
humorous.
pick that up.
It's like a Tinder. You can play it on PC, but I think that loses
I think it's
the appeal. It
better on
needs to be on
mobile,
the
yeah.
phone. It's like a it's dungeon crawler cross Tinder, something that's fucking clever. It's so clever.
Well, speaking of mobile games, actually the one I did play a bunch was it was on my phone, Downwell.
Oh yeah. You played that on
that's.
phone.
I mean, I'm not. When it comes to mobile games, I'll play something, be done with it in a while, and then like move on. But Downwell, it's a game I actually sat down and was like, I want to play this.
Downwell's
and I pulled out my phone and like played a lot.
Still have not finished Downwell.
Even me.
I've gotten to
game
World
is
4 out
so
of 5,
hard.
and
Oh my gosh.
I always died World 4 because then there's no more ground. There's only enemies, and
like
it's
home,
terrifying.
Yeah.
Everything is red. Like if you touch the wall, if you touch the ground, it's red.
The floor's lava, literally. I mean, aka literally everything.
And it's like, cool, I'll just bounce off of enemies, but then all the enemies like have red on top of them. You're just like, well, fuck, cool. I'm just falling forever now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair amount of mobile games to try. I don't know if there's anything that you haven't tried, Zoe, but that's...
yeah, I mean, I have a lot of mobile games, but not a lot of them I
like,
stick with too long. The one I do enjoy that I started playing lately is Alta's Adventure. It's like a snowboarding game.
Oh, you spoke about that.
Yeah, but it's really zen. It's really
That's cool.
chilled. There's a new one out called Alta's Odyssey, which I haven't tried yet. But it's just like really calm. You're just trying to get as far as you can. And it's got really good music and really good visuals, but it's just like I whip it out every now and then. Actually, while I was getting tattooed, I was playing it.
Oh, nice.
Because I was trying to forget what was happening on my
like,
leg.
wow, this game is so cool.
Yeah, this game is so calming. It's great. It's that. And I think Alta's Adventure is usually like $1 nowadays, so it's more than worth it. Yeah,
nice. I think that's all.
Yeah, this is a good catch up.
Jeez, Zach, it's been so long. Let's not wait a whole month before we
Let's
record
not.
again.
Yeah, no, we'll be back next
happen,
week.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week and back to regular programming. Although I really enjoyed talking about E3 again, even though it's a bit detached from the show.
Yeah.
I think, when you have a lot of time to process these things, you think a bit deeper.
Yeah.
I think if we had done this, as I walked out of Microsoft conference, I would have been like, fuck, everything was awesome. Everything was great.
This is the best E3 ever.
Yeah, exactly. So being a bit removed from it is a good thing sometimes.
Consider this your E3 debrief.
Yeah, this was an E3 debrief. If you missed E3 at all.
Yeah.
How?
Where have you been?
Yeah. Gamescom is soon though. August.
Is that August? Man.
August. And then Paris Games Week in September, October?
I know we don't generally get like major things, but there's always interesting stuff.
Yeah, Gamescom has become less about announcements and more about like updates on things we know.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get stuff at Paris Games Week and PSX at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So maybe some release dates. That'll be good.
An Ori release date would be great. Moon Studios, I think it's Moon Studios. Please tell me. Thank you. Until then, I'm going to go home and cuddle my plushie. Spoiler, I'm not marrying Lensk anymore. I'm marrying my Ori plushie. It's happening.
I mean, this
it is life-size.
This is a free world.
That's not happening.
But thank you. We'll be back next week. This has been episode 13 of Checkpoint Chat.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.
Okay, bye, Felicia.